Except these ones you're not given a graph, and you might have to do an extra step. Okay, so it's not too bad. You're still writing equations of circles. So if you did not understand yesterday, I suggest you pay attention today so you know what's going on. So just like yesterday, I put this nice table up here for your standard form of your equation of a circle. Okay, this is what you're going to be using. H and K are your center, just like they were the vertex of your parabola. Okay, so we have H and K, and then R is your radius. Now in your equation of a circle, don't forget you need to square your radius at the end. Okay, you're not just writing the radius, you have to square it as well. Alright, so example 1, we want to write an equation for a circle if the endpoints of a diameter are at 3, -3, and 1, 5. Okay, so this is a diameter. So in order to write an equation of a circle, we need the center point. Okay, so our step 1 is to find the center. Okay, to find the center, we're going to use the midpoint formula. Okay, so that's what we did in the first section of chapter 9. We used that midpoint formula. So in order to find the center of our circle, that's what we're going to use with our two endpoints of that diameter. Okay, so we'll take our x values in each point and add those together. So we have 3 plus 1 divided by 2, and -3 plus 5 divided by 2. Okay, so we have 4 over 2 and 2 over 2. Which is 2, 1. Okay, and again, this is the center of your circle. So 2 is H, 1 is K. Now we still need to find the radius. Okay, so in our standard form for a circle, you need the center point H and K, and you also need R. Okay, so our step 2, we'll write it over here. Step 2, we want to find the radius. Okay, in order to find the radius, we're going to use the distance formula. Okay, so we're going to use that distance formula again. That is the formula we went over in 9.1, that first section. Okay, if you don't remember, it's x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Okay, this is your distance formula. Now, to find the radius, you need to use your center point that you just found and one of your endpoints of your diameter. It doesn't matter which one, as long as you're using the center and then one of your diameter endpoints. Okay, so I'm going to use 1, 5. Okay, and I'll use 2, 1. Okay, so we have 2, 1. And 1, 5. So these are my 2 points that I'm going to use. Shh. Yeah. Yes, you can use 3, -3 instead of 1, 5. No, it doesn't matter. I just chose that one. Okay, so in my first one here, I have x sub 1 and y sub 1, and x sub 2 and y sub 2. Again, I'm labeling these so it's easier to plug into that formula. Okay, so we have x sub 2 is 1, minus x sub 1 is 2, that's squared, plus y sub 2 is 5, minus y sub 1 is 1, squared. Okay, so I get negative 1 squared, 1. I get 4 squared.
4.
So I have 1 plus 16 is the square root of 17. Now again, just like yesterday, I'm going to leave that in radical form. Okay, so don't plug it into your calculator and get a decimal. Just leave it like that. Okay, and then step 3, last step. You need to write the equation of the circle. So write out the equation. Okay, so up here, I need to plug in h and k. I have h and k right here. And I need to plug in r. R is the square root of 17. Okay, so I have x minus 2 squared plus y minus k is 1 squared. That is equal to the square root of 17 squared. Now if I square the square root of 17, what happens? It just goes to 17. Okay, so my final answer here is x minus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared equal to 17. Yeah. You have to, find the midpoint for the center because you're not given the center. Right. It should be easy. Any questions on our first example? No. Shh. Quiet. I want you guys to do example 2. Okay, so you're going to follow the same steps. Step 1, find the center. Step 2, find the distance. Step 3, write it in the equation.
I just restarted. Oh, you went back to one? Yeah. All the way back. All the way.
Do example 2.
Seriously? Holy shit. The name? 17 bucks. Everything was good.
There.
We have the best time when we go to the yeah, bro, we like sitting there. I know a lot of things.
Hey, you need to be doing example 2. So you are quietly working right now. Do example 2. Do example 2.
How do you know which one you use?
What?
Which area for
Is your center point origin?
exactly the same. What do we keep on? What?
Yeah.
We are?
Is he doing right or am I doing right? It reminds me of the way he just... No. Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. You're the first student to actually show me that.
Okay, this is kind of devolving into the comedy movie guys. Simpsons.
This is actually the latest edition Green Lantern explosions of the galaxy 23.
What do you think?
What do you use to cut down a tree, dude?
Oh, I'm sorry.
How do you say
No, dude. Whatever you want.
It doesn't matter. All right. Shh. Quiet. Okay, step 1 is to find the midpoint. So you need to find the midpoint between these 2 points of your diameter. Okay, so we'll have 7 plus negative 1 over 2. Then we'll have 6 plus negative 8 over 2. So we have 6 over 2. And we have negative 2 over 2. So we have 3 negative 1. That's your H and K. Then step 2. We want to find our radius. So we need the distance from the center point to one of the end points of your diameter. Okay, so we need 3 negative 1 as one of our coordinate points. And then we need use 7 and 6. Okay. Yeah, you just pick one of these two. So I can label my points x sub 1 and y sub 1. X sub 2, y sub 2. And then I can plug it into that distance formula. Okay, so we'll take x sub 2 is 7, minus x sub 1 is 3 squared, plus y sub 2 is 6, minus y sub 1 is negative 1 squared. So we have the square root of 4 squared is 16. Plus 6 minus -1 is 7. That squared is 49. Okay, so we'll have the square root of 65. Again, leave it in radical form. Okay, so don't get a decimal. Last step, we want to write out our equation. So we have to use h and k. And this r that we found, okay, this is your radius.
And then
So
write the
for,
equation.
yeah. So for my equation, I have x minus h, which is 3 squared, plus y, stop. Y minus k squared is equal to your radius squared. Yeah, I'm going to simplify it a little bit. So I have x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 65. Yep. And if you know to do this part without writing this part, that's fine. Okay, so with these problems, unlike yesterday, you have one extra step. You have to find the midpoint and then find the distance between your radius and, or between your center point and the end point.